Hey, what's going on? The game started on a challenged goal. It might as well end on a challenged goal. A little weird when it's the initiated by the situation room, and it's Toronto saying, "Hey, we think there's maybe goalie interference here," and then the ref on the ice is like, "No, nope, nope. I've been calling shitty calls all night. I saw this one as it is." Um, to me, that's goalie interference, regardless of where the crease is. In the rule book, it's if the goaltender is unable to put himself in a position to make the save, but there's also the gray area where the referee is allowed to determine if you removed the player from the interference situation, would Lankinen even have made the save in that case? And the ref is basically saying, no, he wouldn't have even made the save had Byfield not been there. But it's tough because it is goalie interference for me, right? But the ref has the ultimate say. Lankinen did put himself out of position by falling way onto his belly. If he had stayed up in his butterfly and tried to kick over and made contact with Byfield, then I think the ref definitely calls it. But because he was pretty much out of position and they were shooting it basically an empty net anyways, even if Byfield's not there, it would have had to have been a miraculous save by Lankinen because he was down and out, basically. So, you had Pettersson and Sherwood both there trying to block the goal, and it went by both of them as well. Just an unfortunate moment where it looked like Pettersson, I don't know if it was skate blades or if it was poor ice conditions. For me, it maybe looked a little bit like the ice was pretty choppy tonight. You could see towards the end of the third period, the puck really bouncing around a lot on both teams. LA looks a little more used to the mushy ice because they play on it all the time, but you can see it affect road teams more often when they go into these southern buildings, especially during winter when it's warm down there and colder up in Canada. You definitely get different ice conditions. However, usually trainers have adjusted the equipment to that. But it's, of course, it's Pettersson who blows two tires. So it's like everyone's going to be like, oh, Bambi on his skates. But I do think there were other players falling and having a tough time. It wasn't just Pettersson, but in those moments, it looks so glaring because it's Petey. Obviously, I'd love to see more from him. He's getting 11.6. Is he playing up to his contract? No. But is anyone on the Canucks right now? Is Besser playing up to 7.25 million? Is DeBrusk playing up to 5.5? If you think about if Quinn signed his extension right now, would he be playing like a $17.5 million player? Because in 2 years, he's going to get, roughly 15% of the cap, right? That your top player gets about 15%. And that's how they talk now in the office. It's not dollar figures. It's never dollar figures. It's all percentage of the cap. And it's when your first year comes on, that top player gets around 15%. Your second best player is usually around 10 to 13%, depending on performance or value to the team, right? And then you go from there. So if you look at Pettersson right now, he's at like around 12% of the cap, which if he was, if more guys were finishing the chances he was setting up, no one would be even talking about it, right? He's setting up more chances than he's ever set up in his career. So he is doing his part, but could he be burying more? Absolutely. Do we want to see him getting one-timers on the power play? I'd love to see that. But to do that, someone has to pass him the puck. He can't set one-timers up to himself. And we're not seeing the one-timer shot because he's not getting the puck sent to him. So there's a lot going on with the dynamics of this team, especially still 5-on-5. Um, it's a interesting situation we find ourselves in, right? Because there's still some of those masking moments, but it didn't really look super dangerous in the third period. They got 7 shots on goal, but I was waiting for like a really, good moment. Um, Foot tried to change things up a little bit in the third by bumping Lekkerimäki up to the first line, but I would have loved to have seen him there the whole game, right? You can't just swap that in the third period and hope that it's magically going to work. Um, they haven't played together all season, so it's going to take a bit of time to find some chemistry and some movement. And you could see Kane, who's been playing right wing as a left-handed shot, kept kind of diverting onto Lekkerimäki's side because he's like, this is where I'm supposed to be, over here. It threw things off, threw the balance off, and I don't understand why Pierre-Olivier Joseph is in the lineup. Why we can't make room for Mancini. I think the Garland injury saved Baines from waivers today, because Rick Dollywell did tweet that Baines was on waivers. And then I think he deleted it immediately after, because then Garland was injured. So I think that saved Baines for a couple of days. But once Garland comes back and Höglander comes back, Baines is definitely going on waivers. I'd love to see POJ go on waivers and Mancini come back up as the 7th guy, and they kind of rotate the young guys, because Joseph just doesn't look like a reliable guy to be coming in and out of the lineup. And yeah, at least we got a point, I guess.
Hashtag at least we got a point. We love that hashtag. I mean, the other positive you can look at for this game, they did, after allowing a lot of power play goals against last game, they did lock things up on the penalty kill, stopping the Kings from 4 power play chances, which did look dangerous at times. So good to see the Canucks turn things around, at least on the power play, against a team that's not great on the power play, to be honest. But shutout on the penalty kill is a shutout on the penalty kill, so we can take that as a win. Face-offs, they did pretty good tonight too, right? Ending up taking that category. 53% of the wins were for the Canucks, winning 31 of 58. So that's a good sign. And then, I mean, on the negative side of things, right? Positive, negative, as it always is with Evander Kane. Evander Kane takes 2 offensive zone penalties, right? And I mean, say what you want to say about it, but he scores on a breakaway because of one of those. So I was hoping, okay, he's doing it again. He took another penalty offensive zone, hoping for another breakaway. It didn't happen. The Kings didn't score on that penalty, but it does all obviously to start that third period. When you're now penalty killing to start the third period, it puts you on your heels. And so when suddenly Lekkerimäki and Petey are together with Kane, and Kane's in the box, that also isn't conducive to that line developing any chemistry to start that period. So another night of Kane being a positive and a negative, but I would say coming out slightly negative because he took 2 penalties and only scored 1 goal.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Right? Like, you can't, it's different if the penalties he was taking were like him working hard in the corner or things like that. It's just careless use of the stick, just going in too aggressively to hits, getting his hands up in guys' faces. Like, just keep your hands down, keep your stick down. You're 30 whatever years old, 33 years old, like, figure it out. 34 years old. You should know by now that those penalties are always going to get called. Careless penalties get called every time, and I don't care how many shots you get on net or how many goals you're getting. Like, yeah, he's got 5 goals this year, but that's not enough considering the negative stuff that he's doing. That hurts the team in the long run and kills momentum. And like you said, you come out in the third period, and now you have to kill a penalty to start the period instead of, being able to be 5-on-5 or maybe having a power play of your own. Yeah. And again, the power play 0 for 3. No real dangerous looks. They tried throwing Lekkerimäki on the first line power play for the last one, but no real chances to set anything up. And that is going to have to be worked on for sure. And I hope maybe Hoaglander's here soon. Maybe they send him down to Abbotsford for a week for some conditioning.
Did they confirm
But
if
I
Hoglander had joined them in LA? Because I heard that was the plan, but I don't know if he actually. I don't know
yeah,
if I saw it.
apparently he's been skating with the team this week, so that's always good when they're skating with the team and on the trip. That's a good sign. I don't know if he just says I'm good to go and maybe we see him against Colorado. I have no idea. The Canucks injuries have been as much of an enigma as the deployment of the lines this year, right? Like 1 minute Bluger is the closest to being back and now he's in a non-contact jersey still, right? So it's no different than management saying we want to get younger and keep bringing in reclamation project veterans or playing, old guys on the top line, right? It's like mixed messages. What's really going on? It's how we keep talking about we're trying to figure out what this team's identity is, and they just don't have one. And a lot of that is on management for building this roster. Like, we're just not that good. Quinn Hughes knew it last year when he said or in the offseason when he said we're not going to be that skilled of a team, so we're going to have to work our butts off. Well, they got the working their butts off part pretty much covered. They are doing that to an extent most nights. It's just the structure is not conducive to strong 5-on-5 play because they're pigeonholing themselves to certain plays by having specific people on those lines that don't mesh well. I liked having the Kane, Pedersen, Leckermacky line, but I would have wanted to see it for a full 60 minutes so they can try and get some flow and they're not coming out in the third period like, okay, boys, go save us. It just, if you're confident enough in Leckermacky to put him out there for the third period, then be confident enough to put him out there for the first period because he's a top 6 player and that's where he's going to thrive and that's where his development is going to grow the fastest. You can't keep putting him out there on the third line with Drew O'Connor and Atu Ratu and hope that he'll bury 5 in a game or get 10 shots. Those aren't the lines that are getting good shots and good offensive chances. You need to take advantage of the other team's offensive players that are going to be pushing back your way that are usually the less defensive players. So that's where you want Jonathan Leckermacky playing. And that's just my 2 cents from my chair in my office here. And, there are positive things. There continue to be positive things, but with a team that's not very talented and people that aren't living up to their contracts or are trying their best to and are unsupported, it's a little bit frustrating as a fan because we're being told one thing by management, but we're expecting another. And that's where I'm starting to lose my patience.
You know what I'm most worried about, Dustin? And it's the schedule to start was crazy. Like they literally played every other day for like the first 6 weeks, right? Like back to back, all that stuff. But I think
and injuries are happening all over the league too, and that's an effect of the condensed schedule for sure.
Right. But the most disturbing thing I think is that I don't know if I've seen an improvement in play now that Adam Foote has actual time to have his team practice. I figured that once they got through it, because their schedule has been a little more open, they've had some actual days to practice, where I thought maybe they'd be able to nail things down like the power play. The PK has been a little better, so we'll give them that. But 5-on-5 and power play, I thought we'd see an improvement as a result of them finally being able to sit down with a bunch of guys and be like, listen, this is how we're going to play. Let's do it this way. I have not seen that, and that scares me a lot.
Yeah, and for sure, that's the trend, right? We expect Foote to adapt game to game. Like, adjust your forward lineups properly. Don't leave Kane with Pedersen. It's like, yes, he's getting a ton of offensive chances, but that's because he's playing with Pedersen. So put someone who can bury those chances there.
Yeah.
I get he is a gritty player, but he can be gritty on the third line. He doesn't have to be on the top line. If Pedersen takes a hit or something and he's not out on the ice at that time, then he can deal with it later on in the game.
Have you seen Kane
Clearly,
protect anyone in his entire time with the Canucks? Has he defended a single
that
teammate?
physical,
He has not.
Exactly. And we saw the one hit. He's got one highlight reel hit all season, and he's like, "Oh, my job here is done. Fans
Yeah.
love me now." Right? And it's like, I want more for somebody who's supposed to be so in love to play for his hometown team and has wanted to wear this jersey for his whole career. He sure isn't showing me that. There's flashes of it, and there's flashes of brilliance, and then flashes of the same old stupid Evander Kane that everyone knows and everyone gets frustrated with, even when he's on your own damn team.
Yep.
I hated that trade from the start, and I'm gonna hate it until he's off our team and dealt with.
Maybe we can turn him into a draft pick at the trading deadline. You never know. 3
Yeah, seventh
stars.
rounder.
Yeah, 7th rounder. We'll lose 3 rounds on it. 3 stars of the night in LA in a 2-1 overtime game. How could they screw this one up, Dustin? How could they do it?
Well, they'll probably just give it to 3 kings, right? Adrian Kempe, Anze Kopitar, and Forsberg, the goalie.
Yep. Yeah, you nailed it exactly. They gave it to Kempe with a goal and an assist, which is fine. I'm fine with that, right? He scores the game winner. Yep. Sure, let's give it. And then Forsberg, but Kopitar, like, how about to the goalie who only allowed 2 goals, who stopped a lot? Yeah, if you're gonna throw a bone out to the Canucks, you got to throw it out Kevin Lankinen's way. Because
I would have given both goal in games that go past 60 minutes. You usually go both goalies and then the game-winning goal. Like, that's pretty much an easy one in overtime. Shootouts usually the same thing. But that's American markets for you, right? Like, a lot of them are homer markets. If any of you ever have the center ice package and you watch games that have the home broadcasts, it is aggressive. There are some that you just have to put it on mute and just enjoy the game because it's bad. It's so bad. You just appreciate guys like Shorty and John Garrett and Ray Ferraro and Jim Houston when he was around. I mean, they all learned from Jim Robson, who, yes, was the voice of the Canucks, but was also a realistic guy and spoke the truth. And if the Canucks did something that they deserved to be chastised for, he chastised them like a father chastising his son. Right? So that's why we have the best in the business calling our games. That's why, Russ, you are the way you are, because you are inspired by those local people. Right? Like, it's just, we try to be realistic about what's going on. We're fans of the Canucks at the end of the day, but when they suck, they suck. And when the coaching sucks, we need to talk about the coaching. And yesterday after the game, Sat and Bick, their post-game show, they were ripping into Foot for his deployment of this, the forward lineups. And it just continues into today, right? You expect to see Lekkerimäki in the top 6 when they release the starting lineup, and he's not there. He's in the
easiest
bottom.
Change. So, right-handed Garland leaves the lineup. Insert right-handed Lekkerimäki. It is that friggin' simple. Sherwood Shoulder, no comment. Just straight up, here's $20. So Sherwood Shoulder, thank you very much for donating to Dobby's College Education Fund. We appreciate you, Sherwood Shoulder. Sherwood Shoulder, always doing work out there, knocking people down. We didn't get a chance to talk about the other Vancouver team, the Goldeneyes. I guess we can just quickly tell you guys. Sarah Nurse was once again not in the lineup, which wasn't a great start to the day. It was a 9 a.m. start too. The Vancouver Goldeneyes fall big to the New York Sirens, who were a good team last year until about the mid part of the season and then absolutely collapsed in on themselves. But they came out firing, scoring 4 goals before the Goldeneyes could get onto the board. Sophie Jake scoring her first one as a member of the Goldeneyes, from Karvinen getting her second assist, and Hannah Miller also getting her first point as a Vancouver Goldeneye, Vancouver native playing for her hometown team. But then the Sirens will also add another goal to make it a 5-1 game. So a pretty forgettable day for the Vancouver Goldeneyes, who look like a team that have not been playing multiple seasons together, Dustin?
Well, exactly, right? Like they look like an expansion team. They are gonna take a few games to gel. It's not like they have the type of training camp like NHL has. Um, they're missing Sarah Nurse, who's kind of like the glue to the team right now. Uh, you see moments of them making some good plays. But again, like one thing that was cool in this game to see was the jailbreak rule in effect.
Mm-hmm.
The Sirens did score a shorthanded goal and released their penalized player from the box to make it 5-on-5, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
As much as I hated seeing a shorthanded goal get scored against the Goldeneyes, I love the rule, and I want it in the NHL so bad. It would change how penalties are killed, and it would change how power plays are approached, and it would be incredible. But anyways, back to the Goldeneyes. I would give it a month, right? Like give them a month of game time. Don't read too much into like the blowouts. Um, there are a lot of mistakes being made still and structure issues. So if this stuff is still happening in a month, then maybe it's a question of maybe coaching or things like that. But just give it some time. These girls need some time to adjust to playing with each other. They've been playing with other teams around the league, so as much as they know each other and have likely crossed paths in their careers, they need time to find what clicks, who works with who on what line, and so we'll have to give that some time. And it's only game three for that, or game three, right? So, they won game one in overtime, which was a great game. So, I'm being optimistic, even though there was a loss. There's positive things to see happening, and hopefully, when Sarah Nurse comes back, we get more of that kind of team structure, which kind of brings the balance. We talk about how NHL teams have glue guys. Well, she's that kind of teammate that brings everyone together and is that face kind of the team. So when she's missing, you kind of feel the vibe is different around them. So hopefully she's back for the next game, and I look forward to it. I've found the hockey very entertaining. The other teams in this league are very talented. They have some really well coached teams. And you notice it on the special teams because it's so different. That jailbreak rule changes. It doesn't just change the PK, right? Like it's not just about getting your player back. It's about the power play now having to kind of be a little bit on the defensive because the penalized team is going to attack more often than just sitting back and letting the 2 minutes elapse. So it really is entertaining hockey to watch when anyone is in the box.
The other thing I found very entertaining was the New York Sirens fans. Their cheer is, "We are, we are, we are, we are." The whole crowd, "We are, we are." That's hilarious. That might be the greatest fan cheer I've ever heard, which I should be praising the other team again, but that I love it. I love it.
Well, and I think it's really cool. I think it's a really cool name for the New York team, paying homage to the first responders of that city that are so important to the city of New York. Obviously the things they've dealt with in history, 9/11 and other sorts of attacks and things that happen within New York. So just really cool all around. Like you said, it's nice to have those unique things for your team, and they're things that kind of make you jealous as a fan.
Yeah.
But also appreciate it, right? You have appreciation. It's a jealous appreciation.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, that's so cool. It's like cheers for European soccer teams, right? Like the cheer songs. It's like, oh man, I wish we could come up with stuff for that for hockey teams, but we're not that creative.
So I hate to
you go beyond Go Canucks Go, and everyone just can't get there, right?
Go Canucks Go. I hate to take it to another loss, but we got to talk about the Abbotsford Canucks versus the Tucson Roadrunners last night, Friday, November 28th. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened in the first game of the back-to-back between these two teams?
I can. Abbotsford really came out trying to control this game. They led in the shot category for the first half of the game. They just couldn't get anything by the Tucson goalie. Again, special teams continuing to be a bit of a problem. Defensively, their penalty kill struggles. That very much has to do with missing Jet Wu and guys like that. Who Jet Wu was a big part of the penalty kill down in Abbotsford last year. So with him out still, the penalty kill has not been strong. Andrew Agazzino getting a power play goal in the first period with 7 seconds left in the period after Abbotsford had peppered the Roadrunners goalie for 17 shots and couldn't get one by him. This was the second period where they got it with 7 seconds left in the second period, because we're talking about game one.
Yeah.
There was no scoring in the first period. Second period, Agazzano scores with 7 seconds left after Abbotsford had pretty much controlled the entire game. And then into the third period, Agazzano back to it on the power play, scoring his second of the game. A minute 25 into the third, going up 2-0. But then Jonathan Lekermacki getting another power play goal back for the Abbotsford Canucks, which is where they've had to get the majority of their offenses on the power play. So the power play is doing great. 5-on-5 has been a struggle, and the penalty kill has been a struggle. But the power play has been strong down there in Abbotsford, which is nice to see. Obviously a product of getting a lot of coaching from Henrik and Daniel when it comes to the man advantage down there in Abbotsford. Maybe we need some of that up at the big club, but that's for talk for another day. After Jonathan Lekermacki cuts the lead in half, Andrew Agazzano completing his hat trick, scoring at 8:41 of the third period to put them up 3-1, and then Max Zuber would score with 16 minutes, with 4 minutes left to make it 4-1. And that would be your final for that game. But Abbotsford out shooting them 31-24, just not able to kill off those penalties early in the game. And those were kind of the difference dictating the direction the game had to go in. Abbotsford chasing for the majority of it, rather than being able to push the play that they wanted to.
Yeah, it seems like the last couple weeks, it has been an absolute special teams battle every single time the Canucks are out there. The Abbotsford Canucks, it seems like the only way teams can score against them are on the power play, and the only way that the Canucks can score is on the power play. So it's been definitely some special teams antics happening for the Abby Canucks. But there's more, because in the AHL, they always play back-to-back games, and so the Abbotsford Canucks face Tucson Roadrunners again tonight. It was a 6:00 start, so just before the Vancouver Canucks got started. How did that game get going for the Abbotsford Canucks?
Not great. Tucson scoring first again in this game. Abbotsford not getting off to the greatest start. They were chasing the game a little bit, maybe a little bit tired from last night's game still. Noel Nord getting the opener in this one about 8 minutes into the game. And then we had a power play late in the first period. And our power play specialist, net front, with his 6th goal of the season, one Joseph Labate, an absolute menace and scoring demon on that power play. Assist to Ty Mueller and Niels Oman to even the score going into the first intermission. Halfway through the second period, finally getting his first goal wearing JT Miller's old number 9. I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah. Dino Cambites getting his first of the season, who was one of the key secondary scorers last year, finally getting the monkey off the back, scoring a nice goal set up by Vilmer Ulrichsen and Jujar Kara. I really like Jujar Kara and his guidance for Ulrichsen to learn how to play as a big player. It's been great, and Ulrichsen has made some some really big leaps. So if we do get into more injury trouble later in the season, I would really expect to see Ulriksson getting a look up at the NHL level to see if he can translate that stuff that he's learning to this level. But then early in the third period, this is what I wanted to talk about. Danila Klimovich, who has been snake bitten all season, wearing the new number 9 after ditching the old number 65. After JT Miller left last year via trade, he has switched to the number 9. For anyone who did not know that, I think we did talk about it at the beginning of the season, but it seemed like it had been a bit of a curse for one Danila Klimovich finally getting his first goal of the season unassisted in the third period, 5 minutes in, to make it a 3-1 game. Niels Oman at 10-minute mark, halfway through the third, would get his first of the season from Fipwa, who spelt Waugh, not ROY. And it is Fip. There is no, it's not Philip, it's PHIP. It's Fipwa. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it. I haven't heard it said yet by any of the announcers, but
you nailed it.
Getting the first assist. Mackenzie McEachran getting his first assist of the season. And then on the power play, Danila Klimovich getting his second of the season. So scoring 2. Hopefully he gets on a hot streak, because Lord knows we could use his offense that he did find more of last year. I would expect this is likely the last season of Klimovich in Canucks colors. I don't think he's ever going to get that bump up to the NHL level with us. He likely goes elsewhere, as he is a late bloomer, but I would like to see him have a strong final season with Abbotsford. Maybe if he can push his offense a little more, he becomes an extra piece in a trade. Other teams out there could use a right-handed shot specialist like Danila Klimovich. He's just not quite as talented at creating chances like Lekkerimäki. He's not that kind of double threat offensively. He's more of a single-dimensional threat, similar to a Brock Besser, that has to be set up for the shot. He can't do it himself. Other than his unassisted one he got tonight, that was just a bit of a broken play, a turnover that he turned into a goal. So Abbotsford would go up 5-1. Tucson would add one late. However, they would secure the 5-2 victory, getting their first regulation win in what feels like an eternity. I'm quite certain since game 1 of the season. It's their first regulation win. So a big sigh of relief for Abbotsford. They have been working hard towards their regulation win and getting more offense. Tonight, you see the names that were more often on the score sheet last year in Niels Oman, Danila Klimovich, and Dino Kambites. So that slow start that we talked about happens. You know, last year we had the 500 start for the majority of October and November. With all the injuries and the guys going up and down, that was a big issue to the structure down at Abbotsford. More of their lineup is getting settled because the Canucks are getting healthier when it comes to skaters. The goaltender situation, we won't even get into because that's just a nightmare and a half. So I like what I'm seeing structure-wise. This is a leap in the right direction. And hopefully they can maybe string a couple of wins here together to build their confidence back up. And as we get healthier, we'll see more of that structure that Manny Malhotra wants to run, and we'll get these guys going on a bit of a heater.
Yeah, good to see all those first goals of the year finally. Dino Kambites, Danila Klimovich, Niels Oman, all getting their first goal of the year, which is 3 players I didn't think would take this long to get their first goal of the year. Like you said, Joe LeBate already with 6 goals. So finally, some of the guys who are supposed to be providing the offense are doing that. So hopefully this is a good sign moving forward for this Abbotsford Canucks team that has been taking their lumps with all the injuries that the Vancouver Canucks have been dealing with. So good to see the boys finally getting the job done in regulation. Dustin, there anything you
Yes,
want to
sir.
say to chat before I let you go?
I'd like to answer one question I saw earlier.
Sure.
Who would I
Which
like
one?
to see as a winger with Pedersen and Besser? When he's healthy, I think Höglander would be a perfect fit for those two because he's the guy that will go in and drive the corners, dig it out. He's exactly the same player as Garland. However, he's a left-handed shot. So if you want to play Besser with Pedersen and have a left-handed shot and a nice balanced line and someone who's probably going to bury more goals than Evander Kane, I'd love to see Höglander there when he gets back up to speed. Obviously, it's going to take him a bit to gain that NHL speed. But I do really hope to see him there and Besser with Pedersen again, just to get Besser. I think Besser's earned it with how many chances he's been getting and how many shots he's been getting. If Pedersen can get him those grade A chances, he's going to start burying more and more, and we'll see both their point totals go up, and we'll be doing happy dances again.
I found the question. It was from
The roller coaster continues, folks.
Yeah.
The roller coaster continues. And this apparently is what Adam Foot hockey is. Russ, I've been watching online. A lot of the online regulars who put good takes and good analysis out there are having the same issues, wondering what the direction or what the identity of this team is going to be, because they're having troubles deciphering Adam Foot's coaching as well, because there's no history to pull from except for a pretty failed run as a WHL coach. So you don't really want to look at that sample as what he's doing here. So it's really tough to analyze wins or losses. But a lot of it just keeps coming back to the same thing. And a lot of them are realizing it as well, that the deployment is becoming a bit of a question mark. So hopefully we get the message through to him via our Russian chat bots.
Yep.
Just bombarding Foot with all the analysts, analytics, and stats. Just keep at it, guys. Get your smokes and your cashews ready for a couple days here. So we got a 2-day break here. We don't play till Tuesday. So get on the Twitter and get online and get on the Reddit and start hammering Foot with, you need to change your lines. You need to change your lines. And we'll see everyone on Tuesday after you enjoy your weekend. Getting close to Christmas time. So, hope everyone enjoys their last weekend of November. We will see you next month.
Dustin Boydell, I appreciate you being here, hanging in with me with all the chaos that is Vancouver Canucks. And yes, enjoy your Sunday off and your Monday without any Canucks pain. And then we'll chat again on Tuesday, my dude.
Sounds great.
Nothing is perfect.